The final video for midterm revision is about remembering and forgetting. Okay, so here we have 4 words: remember, remind, forget, and recognize. Okay, so I'm sure you know forget and remember. Remind is when you have you kind of need something to help you remember, and recognize is when you maybe have difficulty. It's difficult to remember something, and then you remember. Okay. So one of these for each word is wrong. So I'm just going to look at the wrong one. So you can't say remember someone to phone you. So some verbs don't take an object. So remember doesn't have an object. So you can't say remember someone to phone you. Remind is the opposite. It must have an object. So you must say remind someone. So this one is wrong. To do remind to do something. You remind him, remind her, remind me. Remind someone, you need an object. Okay. Forget of something, can't say that. Okay, you can say forget about, forget that, forget to. Can't say forget of though. Recognize, which is the wrong one. This one. Again, recognize doesn't. Well, anyway, you can't say recognize to do something. Okay, you just either recognize or you don't recognize. That's it. So recognize someone's face. So if it's maybe you didn't see this person for a long time, and then you remember their face, you can recognize. Same with a piece of music. Think, oh, what's that music? And then you remember who made the music. Okay. All right. Remind what? One more thing. So there's kind of 2 reminds. There's also remind of something. So you can also say it's this is a different meaning. Okay, so you've got remind as in remind me to call my mother tomorrow. It's her birthday. So you want someone to say to you, oh, it's your mother's birthday tomorrow, so you need some help to remember. Okay, there's another remind. It's remind of, which is a different meaning. Okay, so we call this number 2 and this number 1. So you can say, for example, you remind me of Brad Pitt. So that means you look like Brad Pitt. For example. Or you can say, you remind me of my sister. It means maybe your behavior is the same or you look the same. Something like that. So remind of is different from remind. Okay. Let's do this task from the ebook. So, okay. So, did anyone important forget about your birthday? Okay. Number 2. Who usually reminds you to do things? Number 3. Can you remember anything about when you were at nursery school? Okay. Number 4. Have you forgotten to do anything important? Okay. Number 5. Is this? Does anyone in your class remind you or remind you? It says where necessary. So actually nothing. You don't need anything now. So this is what I was telling you. Remind of. Okay. So you can say she reminds me of Kim Kardashian, for example. Okay. She looks like her. Do you usually recognize pop songs quickly? Don't need anything there. Is there anyone you must remember to phone today? This is a verb here. Okay. Verb. Have you ever seen anyone famous in the street? How did you recognize him or her? Finally, this was the tasks from Blackboard. So I'm just going to number these 1 to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So you remind somebody to do something. So you've got somebody here. So that's number 2. Remind your sister to do her homework tonight. She might forget. Number 2. Remember to call Meta. She's getting married. Okay. Number 3, remind me to change. So remind somebody to, that is number 2. Number 4, you remind me of. So that's the one I was telling you about. Reminds me of. Number 5, I sometimes forget my father's birthday. Number 6, I never forget to charge my phone. Okay, I didn't recognize Mariam. She looks so grown up now. So she was a child the last time you saw her, and now she looks a bit different. Okay, number 8, I remember using Snapchat for the first time 3 years ago. Okay. Do you remember the Olympic Games in China? I can recognize Sheikh Zayed in this photo. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for that video.